All right, I tell you what, let's go back. Let's listen to the production that we added, the claps and the stomps, and then about a couple bars in, I'll mute it so we can hear the difference, see if it's making a good impact. Welcome back to the Mix Academy. I'm David Glenn, professional mixer, audio mentor, and I'm here to help you take the good, the bad, and the ugly of home recordings and turn them into hit records. Today, I've got you an inside look at a session that I've recently done, one of my latest mixes, and we're going to take a look at the power of percussion, right? We've got some claps that the client put in, and we've duplicated that, created some stomp tracks to enhance it. Very similar to blending kick drum samples or snare samples. We're blending some percussion samples, and I'm going to show you just heard the before and after. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm thinking when I get claps, shakers, tambourines, any of those kinds of things, how we're adding ambience, all that good stuff. But first, if you haven't already, I've got a set of multi-tracks here, this exact song that you can download, mix for yourself, use on your website, your resume to promote your services, and then I've included a full start to finish mix course that I usually would charge about $150 for, and all I'm asking for in exchange is a donation to my GoFundMe. It could be $1, $5, whatever you can. If you give over $300, then you're getting my all access, lifetime access to my courses. Over $500, you get all access, and you're getting some one-on-one stuff. But recently hit some hard times the last few years. I've been dealing with some severe stroke-like symptoms, and finally getting help for it. Got the MRI, the CT, mentioned it in a few videos now. They found a small brain cyst, whatever that means, a cyst on the brain, something like that. And we're going to be going to the neurologist. I have no medical insurance, so these funds have been a huge help, and I would greatly appreciate if you would consider that. But again, I'm not asking just for donations, including the course, bonus downloads. You get the mix template, drum samples, all the custom shots that I created for this exact session, and all that and more down in the description. So appreciate you with that. Now we're moving on. We're going to check out what we did to the percussion. So if I remember correctly, I think the band gave me the claps. And so these clap sounds, we'll show you soloed out what they sound like. Cool. Nothing to write home about. Pretty simple, just clap sound. And the section, I'll take out what I've done here. This is what they sound like, just raw. Sounds good, right? We could have just put this in the mix, cranked up the fader, and called it a day. You may do that with your mix if you take on this song. But for me, I wanted to bring out the ambience a little bit more. I wanted some ambiance, right? I wanted the decay of the room for it to sound a little more larger than life. So what I did, there was a couple of things. First up, I compressed it. I've got VMR. Pick any compressor you want. I love the FG401 here. Super quick to dial in, and I'm just smashing this thing. So I've got a kind of medium to slow attack, a fast-ish release, and 10 plus dB at all times, just smashing this thing, making up words now, smashing this thing. Check it out. So here it's like almost a golf clap, right? It's kind of chill. And then with the compression, it's just adding sustain and bringing out the decay in the room. Here's without the compression and with it. Sounds like more people, sounds like a larger space. We're just pulling out the ambience and making it feel a little bit larger than life. And then I have used the mix knob here. So typically my process is to have it full on. I'll have whatever, what does this default to? It defaults with an open threshold, and then what I'm going to do is just clamp on it. Just nasty like, right? And in that case, I was like, maybe a little bit too squashed. And so instead of backing it off, I like that it's controlling the transient. So what I did is I pulled back on the mix knob. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll just back off the mix knob a little bit until it feels right. Other times I take it back down to 0 and blend in a little bit. Depends on how extreme I am with the compression. But in this case, you could see that where were we at originally? We were right there. And so that's where we landed. Felt good, moving on from there. So a little bit of compression. The other thing was I was hearing it in the mix and I was like, it's a little bit thin. It's just kind of like, I don't know, thin claps. And little girly claps, and I wanted it to be a little more man-sized claps for this section. We got energy, we needed to match the energy of the track. And so I added some low end to the claps, pulled out some mid-range and some little bit of top end there, upper mids, and boosted the fundamental-ish, kind of trying to really just pull forward some meat in the claps. Went from like these, clapping up here in your hands to like some meat hooks going on, right? And so we got some meat to the claps now. And I thought, I want to give this more ambience. So in the track, it sounded like this. So it pulled forward the ambience a little bit, but in my head, I heard more ambience. I wanted more room sound. And so in my sessions template, I have a close room sound, I have a far, and a large wooden room. I'll show you those, courtesy of the Slate's Verb Suite Classic. These are the Bricasti impulse responses. The FG-BM7 is the Bricasti, incredible stuff. Actually, if you don't already have these, you can obviously subscribe to Slate. You'll get it, powered by Liquid Sonics. Or you can Google Bricasti, B-R-I-C-A-S-T-I, IRs. IR''S, and when you Google that, and there will come up a donation-based, similar to what I'm saying. Hey, give a buck, give whatever, and you can download the quote-unquote freeware Bricasti impulse responses. I used them for years. I don't know if there's a difference. I'm using these now, but I use those for 10 years or so. So they sound great. You get them for free, basically. Give a buck, whatever. And you can download these same sounds. So Studio B Close is my first one. Then I've got a Studio B Far. They're both about a half-second decay time. You'll see that, 500 milliseconds there. Basically the same timing. They just have a little bit different character. This one sounds a little closer. This one sounds a little further away. And then we've got about a 1 second decay time in the large wooden room. Again, from the Bricasti library. And then I am EQing these because I'll send these to my snare, my kick, toms. And when you do that, if you don't high pass it, if you don't cut some lows, you can end up with quite a bit of rumble, especially if you use it on the kick drum, toms, things like that. Floor tom can really start shaking, and then you'll get overs on your two bus when you're mixing for loud, right? Mixing for a modern sound, if that's what you're going for, then you want to make sure you're really careful with stacking those low frequencies. And so my default is to have this high pass to 77 hertz. Often I'm taking this and coming up to 100 or 200 hertz. It just depends on the song. For this one, we didn't. We left it at 77, but cutting some mids, and there you go. So those three room tones are blended for the claps. So let's check that out. So here's without them. So a little bit of each of those. You can see a little bit of close, far, and the large wooden room. Quite a bit of each of them, actually. And it doesn't sound that great in solo. I mean, even if we listen to the raw file. It's thin, it's whatever. So now we got the compression and the EQ. But that would be what I would prefer if I'm acoustic guitar or whatever, and it's like chill in solo. But we don't mix in solo. So let's put it in the context of the track, and we'll have it in, and then I'll take it out. We go from like energy and driving the track, we get the sustain and the room sound, to like this polite little children's clap, and that just didn't fit the song. So adding the blend of those three, it worked. However, I still heard more. In my head, I was like, man, I just need some more meat. And so what I did is I duplicated their claps to this track here, and you can look, the file is the exact same name. Claps 101 right there is the exact same file as this one. Cool. So I duplicated the claps. Let's come out here, and I added a sample. We've got a lot of the guys over at That Sound. I want that sound.com. I think they're with, was it Soundstripe? I forget who they license their stuff to, but you can get them subscription based now, which is pretty cool. But I came in to the Stomps and Claps library from That Sound. Big boots, fast stomps, foyer stomps, and then the room stomp C. You can see the exact samples I'm using there, and I include all this in the course. If you check out the link in the description, you'll get all of this. But the stomps, I'm just like, man, let's blend some power, right? And these are all in stereo, so I left them centered, but you could pan them and get even a wider spread for them. But we went from just having the claps like this Kumbaya over here to it's cool. They're following the same triggers, but they're kind of flamming off each other. We got some cool hits going on there. So the blend of that, and that wasn't enough. I wanted more bottom. Can you tell I like low end? These are low mids, but same thing. So we got a little more top to bring out some top end, some definition in them, transient, and then some more meat. And so same thing with these. I heard them raw. Pretty darn boring sounding to then this. But because the claps alternate hits, I was able to just use those one shots and come up with something pretty cool. And so in the track is what matters. Let's go over here. In the track, we'll have without, actually, let's have it in and then we'll take it out. Even with our processing, EQ, compression, and adding the room sound to the claps, they just fall apart. The track just goes from, again, this kind of like energy to kumbaya. And anyways, so you can see how compression, EQ is your friend, and blending samples. Sometimes you just got to dig out some more production and add to the track. The band loved it. They signed off on it. And that's what we did to enhance. Called this video The Power of Percussion. So hey, hope you dig this. Let me know if you want more. Drop a comment. Tell me what kind of tutorials you would like to see here on the channel. Really cranking it up, trying to do one a day. I don't think I'll quite keep up with that pace, but let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next. Don't forget to check out the GoFundMe from my family to yours. We appreciate you, and we'll catch you in the next one.